go. Welcome back, Panther Springs friends. I hope you enjoyed last week in our story of Jonah. This week, Pastor Cindy is going to talk to us about telling our story. She's going to talk about how Paul in the New Testament told his story, and he told others about Jesus. And the charge is for us to tell our story too, that we can tell others about Jesus and about God. So that made me think of probably the most famous story in the Bible, and that is the story of Noah. Now, boys and girls, you've probably heard this story many times, so I'll try not to drag this one out. So the Bible says that Noah was a righteous man, and that Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So Noah lived in a time when the world was getting very, very wicked, and God decided he had had enough, and he was going to destroy the earth. So he told Noah that he was going to destroy the earth with a flood. Now, boys and girls, I want you to look at where Noah lived. I think they lived out in the middle of the desert. There's not a whole lot of water around, so it probably didn't make a whole lot of sense that the Lord was going to destroy the earth with a flood. But Noah was obedient, and he listened anyway. And he and his family, he had 3 sons, and they had wives. And they began building the boat. Now, boys and girls, I like history, so I read one time that it probably took Noah 120 years just to build this boat out in the middle of the desert, because the boat had to be very large. And the boat had to be very sturdy. It had to have a lot of rooms. They had to take a lot of food. And we know that they had to take the animals so that the animals could survive the flood. So for 120 years, Noah was out in the desert with his sons, probably their wives, building the boat. And he was preaching to others, telling them that God was going to destroy the earth with this flood. Now, boys and girls, because I like history, I also read one time that it may have not ever rained up until this point, that the Lord had chosen to water the earth a different way. So rain had not even fallen from the sky. And here Noah is preaching to these people, telling them the Lord is going to destroy the earth with a flood. Well, if it had never rained before, maybe they'd never heard the word flood before. But that didn't stop him. He was obedient. He did what God told him to do. He preached to the people and said, I want you to be saved with me. Please come aboard this boat. You can be saved. You don't have to be destroyed. We can stop our wickedness, and you can come with me, and the Lord will save us. For 120 years, he did this. And I think probably for 120 years, people laughed at him. So what a story that is, boys and girls. 120 years, people making fun of you, but you are still obedient, and you still do what God tells you to do. So we know that Noah built the ark. And then what happens? Stay tuned.